Welcome to another live match. I think my head would be coming off. Welcome to Moorlands Farm. Now today I'm doing a live match. It's a silverfish match and the conditions aren't great, to be honest. It was absolutely bitterly cold this morning. We are all on Meadow Pool, actually not Moore's Pool, it's Meadow Pool, so it's a famous lake. Grant has done an amazing job here. I know it's going to be tough. I've been looking at some of the weights recently and double figures, you know, is a good weight. I've drawn peg 13 on the Meadow Lake. Now, Grant said it's okay here, but you know, it's going to be tricky. I've got Grant actually next door to me, so he's the local expert. He owns the place, so obviously it's going to be tricky because I don't come here. So I'm going to set my stall out with some groundbait lines, and I'm also going to have a short line as well. Obviously, it's all about trying to put fish in the net today, and hopefully we catch some bigger fish, because obviously when you look at the weights, double figures, is, you know, you've got to be catching everything that swims. So there you go. The first thing I'm going to do is mix a bit of ground bait up, start setting my gear up, and then we'll run you through the best we can, because I've told Zolt to stay down today. He's not allowed to walk around too much because I know it's going to be really tricky fishing. So let's get back to the gear, set everything up, and we'll talk you through exactly what I'm doing in the live match. Wish I probably could go back in time Right, so obviously spoke to a couple of people this morning. It's going to be an hard day, without a doubt. It's frosty, cold, water's got a bit of colour in it because obviously the rain we've had, so I'm hoping it'll be alright. But ground bait wise, nice and simple. I'm going to put, if I've got any with me, which I haven't, I've got to go back. Hang on, I'll be back. Because of what we're fishing for, I'm going to put Pro Thatcher's green, but that's going to be my sort of main thing, is super crust green. I think when you're fishing for little skimmers, I mean, weights here today could end up being £7 to 14 or 15 pound, I think, for this section. So it's going to be hard, it's going to be tricky. Zolt's going to have to stay low. Stop. I've already told him.
Trying my best.
There's no trying your best, so he's going to have to stay down, sniper mode today. Yeah, light's going to be an absolute pig to see the float. But anyway, so it's a ground bait, so I'll put a bit of that in. I'm not going to measure it out. So I would say 70% super crushed green. And what I like about a super crushed green is I can mix it really wet if I want to. Obviously got to get going because we ain't got that much time. Let's get a bit of water in that. Oh, that water is it's painfully cold, that is. And obviously this is what I say in my videos and that I do. Mix it up straight away. I've not even set any gear up yet. And then leave that. And that super crushed green, you can feel it. It's like it's sort of like fine and nice. And when that dries out a bit, I'll push that through a riddle a couple of times and that'll come out fluffy. And I'll be able to do different things with it. I can make it wet, make it dry. I'll have two mixes a day, one wet and one dry. And obviously as the film goes on we'll talk through that. But yeah, that's it. Chuck it to one side and get everything else set up. Right, well, I've decided that I'm going to set a little wag up just in case. Obviously I spoke to Grant. Grant's next door to me, who owns the fishery, and he says peg 11, which is like, I'm on 13, but peg 11 is fishing a completely different part of the lake. It's sort of around the corner a little bit. But they reckon that's been the peg, and I did hear that was the peg you really wanted in the draw, but you never know. But anyway, I'm going to set a little wag up. I've got one of the new Superior X 12-foot super lights. Perfect for this sort of fishing. Whether I actually pick it up or not, I don't know. From past experience, the peg I'm on can hold a lot of F1s, so they don't count. So it could be a bit of a nightmare with them. But listen, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be tough. But I'm going to set a Waggler up now. Real nice and light. I've got 013 power line, main line, which I used the other week in a match, and it was absolutely superb. It sinks well. You can cast little Wagglers about. And yeah, let's get back to it and plumb the Waggler up, and I'll keep you posted. I don't really know what's going to happen. I've kept it nice and simple. Obviously, I'll talk through the match. I've told Zolt he has to stay down. He's not allowed to move around too much because it is a match. And obviously, we've got to respect the other anglers as well that's on the bank. Not just me, Zolt. So hopefully, I think the fishing is going to be tricky. And I think probably some of the videos you've seen recently over the winter, fishing is tricky wherever you go. Even some of the best sort of silverfish commercials about are very, very difficult at the moment. And I think this is going to be exactly the same. My section goes basically, I think there's 10 in a section. So I think there's 5 on this side and 5 opposite. So I can see probably what's going on. Fancied pegs, really. I'm quite happy. This used to be a good area when I used to come. The only thing is, I think there's quite a lot of F1s about. Grant's even said to me, you might catch a lot of F1s. Hopefully not, because they don't count. Obviously, we're fishing for basically skimmers, perch and roach. Keep it nice and simple. I've only set up 2 rigs. I've set up 2 4B12 F1 maggots, nice and light, 011 main lines, strung out rigs, and we'll talk about that as we get through the match. Number 5 slip. Yeah, just plumbed up nice. I've got several spots I can fish. I think I'm going to base my match really, like everybody else, is going to be around putting a bit of ground bait in and just trying to make bites, and then hopefully we might catch a few fish late on short, over ground bait again. I'll probably end up loose feeding maggots. I think with that colour on it, I think maggots and pinkies are going to be the way forward. I'm not going to chop any worms up. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope I enjoy it. It's going to be tricky, it's going to be hard, but that's what this silverfish winter fishing is about, especially when the venues are fishing really tricky. So keep tuned. Obviously, there won't be a lot of moving about on Zolt's behalf. I've told him to stay put. He's on his chair today. He's like a scalded dog at the moment, not allowed to move. So anyway, hopefully, we'll put loads of pointers towards you guys so you makes your winter fishing a lot better fishing for silvers. Let's get ready to go.
Here we go, guys. I'm not allowed to move or talk. There is Desmond. 2 cameras, and I'm sitting on my place. Have fun.
Right, so we are literally ready to go now. I've done 2. Oh, that's it. I'm going to put a little ball in on one line, a little wet ball like that, with a little bit of loose, very negative. That's going to be my starting line. It's always gambles, obviously, how much you put in. So 14 metres, I'm going to drop it just a little bit short of my 14 metre piece. Like that, so I can fish on it and past it. And then on the line to my left, I'm going to put a whole 250ml pot in of loose. Like that, with nothing in it. Obviously, not coming here. They do have a silverfish league here. So you're always up against it with the locals. They'll know. And I try and find as much info as I can. So again, just a little bit shorter. So a nice big pot of loose. And then a top kitten 3, which is my short line. I'm going to put about 200ml of loose in. I don't really want to overcook it. Again, a little bit shorter, it's flat there, so it's always a gamble. Tell you what, I'm going to put a little bit more in there. And I think I can always put it in a little bit shorter. Like that. Just make a nice area on the bottom. Let that go down. What's that, Grant? Get it down. So that's it, really. Nice and simple. I've set a Waggler up. I'm going to catapult a few casters out there as we go, and it's just in case, really. But I think it'd be a fool not to fish a Waggler. I mean, not knowing it, and so nice and easy. Little F1 maggot. I'm going to start on my negative line, and like going back, what I put in was a little ball, a little soggy ball with a few pinkies in, and I'm just going to start on single pinky. Really negative, but every venue's different. So I'm just going to go right out. It's a beautiful day out. And hopefully we get a response pretty quick. You never know, you might have to wait. So obviously options I've got is put in a little cub pot on. I could pot in pinkies, I could pot in maggots. I'm only going on what people have been talking about, and word on the street is a lot of pinky fishing. Oh, there's a little skimmer just top past me float then. I've opted to fish 14.5 because just so I give myself the best chance, but whether that's a good move or not, I obviously looked at the forecast, seen there wasn't much wind, and made a sort of decision to fish 14.5. It's going to be hard work, but I'm hoping that you know, you will catch a bit earlier because you are fishing a bit longer. But that ain't always, you know, it depends on the venue you go and how good the fishing is, really. Grant's got a fish on already. Skimmer, Grant? Oh, had a bite. Yeah, I just had a bite and missed it. I'm not going to do much. I'm not going to do much else apart from sort of get settled into me match, really. Probably ping a few casters out on that Waggler line. And try and work out, really, you know, once I get a few bites, is that, you know, can I keep catching on one line, or do I need to move about? That's sort of what I sort of try and work out. There's a great big carp just top to my right, which is a bit worrying. There we go. Little skim, I think. Little 4-inch skimmer. That's what we're going to be fishing for today, I think. Lovely fishing. I love that sort of fishing. Another little skimmer. Been going for just under half an hour. I think I've got five fish, little skimmers, one little roach, and as expected, it's difficult. And these matches are going to be so close. You just know. You just got to get your head down, try and just winkle some fish out. And what I've done, I did actually plumb up to my right as well, a bit out of my peg. Let me just turn that off a minute. That's someone in the back garden. So what I've done, like, as soon as I started getting bites on this little bit of sloppy ground bait with a few pinkies in, I got that line over to my left where I've put, I tell you what, I've missed like 5 or 6 bites. I know they're only little fish, but it's annoying. But I've actually put another little ball in, the same as what I put on this line, slightly to my right, probably like 4 meters away. Because if it is a day that I've got to rotate lines to keep the bites coming, then you're going to need that. But at the moment, I'm just trying to concentrate on that one little line and see what happens. I mean, there's obviously the option of putting a cab pot on. Oh, that was a little bite there. I think the pinky's gone over me up there. Yeah, look at that. You'll get that with little skimmers. You'll get a bit double look in the hook bait. So you've got to watch for that. Every time I pick my rig up, I'm making sure that hook bait is sat straight. If you think it's sat on a bit of an angle, then come back and check it. There's a few fish about, that's the main thing. I've had a few bites. I think Grant's had probably 4, so there's nothing in it really. That odd bonus fish today, maybe a bonus skimmer, and if there's a few perch and that about, they're going to make a massive difference. Look at that, tiny little bite. I'm just sticking with pinky at the moment. In my mind, I'm trying to think, well, shall I sort of cab pot, possibly some maggots over the top? Do I cab pot some pinkies in? That's a decision that I'm going to have to probably make as I'm going along. I'm just trying to concentrate as much as I can on hooking these little skimmers. I'm right on my bait at the moment, so I've come back, as you can probably tell from my pole section, I've come back right on my bait. Like I said, I've started throwing a few maggots on my top kitten 3. Not many, literally 4 or 5. No one's really catching it at the minute, so that's good in a way. Everybody's in the same boat, so there you go. Nice and patient, another little skimmer. And net all these. Probably to swing them on a normal match, but here at the moment, the way things are, net it, put it in the net. Grant's also missing a few bites, so I think that's just it's just a stamp of fish I think we're fishing for at the moment. Just feed a few casters out there. That's a slightly better one. That literally hit the bottom. Slightly bigger one, that's the ones we want. probably 8 ounces. One of them every chuck would be nice. It's amazing when you go to different venues, and you know, some venues in the winter you can put worms in and catch, other venues you can't. There was an option that I could have put some worms in today. I've got some with me. But they're there just in case, really. Just in case, you know, nothing's happening, and I could always chop some up later on. I can't see me doing that, to be honest. Well, we've been going an hour. And I've probably got like 12, 14 fish, something like that, I think. I've just put a little cod pot on now, and just tapping maggots past my ground bait. And the fish at the moment are very, very small. I'm getting bites. I mean, obviously the condition. The only thing is Adam's over there on the end, and he seems to be catching better quality ones on the opposite side of the lake. And he's in my section, so. But we're getting bites, and in these conditions, just getting bites is a result. I've been on my line where I put like 250ml full pot of loose ground bait in, and I had 2 little skimmers, but literally I had like 2 or 3 bites and then nothing. And before I went on that, I put a little blob of like wet ground bait and a little bit of loose on this line. I've gone on it and I've had 1 little skimmer, a couple of little roach. I've put maggot on the hook now just to try it. And at the moment, there doesn't seem to be a lot of difference between maggot and pinky, to be perfectly honest. But I'm getting bites, and obviously at the moment I've tapped some maggots in on that line. Now I can always change to tapping pinkies, and I'd like to change. You know, I'd like to try and catch on maggot if I can, to give myself the chance of some better quality ones there. That was on maggot. Tiny little bites. Grant next door has had probably a few more fish than me now. Very close though, nothing in it really. Just want to get one of them every single chuck in, really. Just nice winter's fishing, which is what you want. So I'm just putting like six or 8 maggots. You know, I could be tapping in pinkies, but I think to myself, I want to give myself a chance of probably catching, you know, some better quality ones. That don't mean to say that pinkies are going to be wrong, admittedly, but when I put a maggot on, I seem to be getting as many bites, so that's why I started just tapping in a few maggots now. Still throwing a few maggots over that short line, like 4 or 5 now and again, not all the time. Nothing really on the drop. The bites I've had on the drop have been, I've missed them all. And I think they're tiny, tiny little roach. Still feeding that Waggler line, a few casters. I've actually seen a couple of decent skimmers top out there. So, you never know. I'm not going to go on that. I'm going to leave that for a good amount of time, unless this pole line goes completely, absolutely, you know, where you can't get a bite. I'm just going to stick with this a minute because it's much of a light for everybody. I think the guy to my right, I think I might have had 1 little baby fish. So it is a tough one at the moment. It's always hard to work out these matches, like when to top up. I think I've got to top up with ground bait. I've got to. Even if you know, at least I've got the option of going past. Them little skimmers absolutely love, you know, ground bait, and that positive line. Definitely not as good as his other line, so I think that at the moment that's telling me that just got to go very careful. If I'd have dropped on that positive line and it had been just solid, I'd have been like, oh right, okay, I can probably put some more bait in, but it was so apparent, it was like really, really slow. And a little bite then, tiny fish. Cool, that is a tiny one. So we're just going to keep going. It's going to be a tough, still going to be a tough day. Like dead, you know, dead still, no wind. Just go past. I just don't think there's no quality here at the moment. But you never know, your next bite can be a pound, you know, a pound skimmer. These sort of matches are never over really until the last, you know, until the whistle goes. Another little decent skimmer, probably the other side of the lake that was, to be fair, but that's like 5 fish I've seen top. They'll never bite, look, that's on those. That's little roach, that is though. Just keep those casters going in. Have a little bait. Oh, come off that one. No, Zolt, they don't like to see that. It was only a tiny one, Zolt. Little roach just top, short. I think my feelings are, if I can't catch quality anywhere in me on the pole, you know, I think that Waggler possibly could be my. You never know. You could cast out there later on. Definitely more bites on maggots though, even though they're tiny. That's not good news. That's a perch. What do you reckon on that, Zolt? He loves it when I'm struggling. I can do better. I'm trying, Zolt. It's a tricky one, mate. Huh? Oh yeah, it's tricky, all right. But what I've seen, there's definitely a few skimmers topping out in the middle of the lake, and then you never know, all of a sudden they could come in. I'm on my 11 o'clock line at the moment. This is the line that I put like 250 mil of loose ground bait in. And when I first went on it, or the first time I went on it, I caught 2 little skimmers, and I thought, need to try something there. So I put like probably 50 to 60 pinkies in. So just clumped them in. And I've just gone on it. I topped my other line up to my right, and I've had like 5 little skimmers on it. It's been all right. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, do these fish want a little bit, you know, do they want a bit more, you know, loose feed? I've done it in quite a few venues where you can be tapping in like 10 and, you know, a few pinkies, and then sometimes you actually put a little bit more in, leave it, and they'll settle over those sort of, you know, the hook, basically the baits you're putting on the hook. I've had 5 little skimmers on that, quite quick. I actually bumped some up, which I thought felt quite decent, but it could have been foul hooked, I suppose. At the moment, I'd say Grant's had a nice bonus 12-ounce perch. At the moment, it's, for the section, I would say it's really, really close. Adam Palmer's on 58, who's in my section on this side, on this part of the lake. He's had a few better ones there, which is what I'm not getting really. So yeah, it's nice fishing though. Do you know what I mean? It's hard, it's really tricky. It's like now, it feels like I now got to top up. I've sat there for a few minutes, not had a bite. When there's one in your peg, you get an indication straight away normally. You have got to be patient, admittedly, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to put another sort of 50 pinkies in there and probably just a little bit of loose. And then just rotate the lines, which is probably the name of the game, I would say, at the moment. But I have seen a few better fish top out on that Waggler line, well, past the Waggler line, which is making me feel like... So what I'm going to do is put that many pinkies in. It's probably more than what I say, it's probably about 100 there. I'm just going to put a little ball of loose. I said, just a little bit back. Very, very tricky. I like this sort of fishing though. This is where you can learn a lot about fishing. This is what I've done this fishing years and years ago, and it will depend on what venue you go. You could quite easily go to a different venue and it'd be different, different baits. You'd be catching on casters, worms. And some venues don't have it in the winter. I know venues where I go in the summer, it's brilliant. You catch on worms over groundbait, loads of worms, and you go there in the winter, you will not get a bite on worms. It's incredible. And I think this is probably one of them. And as it warms up, worms are probably, will play a big part. It's really awkward though, because you want to, if they were feeding them little skimmers, you could come back with one every chuck. It'd be great, and you could you'd be surprised what they weigh. But it's not the case when you've got to rotate lines. It's a bit tricky. See, there's another skimmer. It's over halfway, that skimmer just topped there, but they're definitely out there. There you go, little fish. Don't really want these. These ain't really doing nothing for you, really. Well, no, exactly nothing. That's the sort of result. That's a Zolt's fish, that. Put a maggot back on again. I think when there's bigger fish in your peg, I don't think they'd be there either. Everywhere I've been going recently, if you get a good fish in your peg, there's none of them little sprats there. I've got a seagull out there waiting for me casters to go in. He's loving a few casters, that seagull. So I'm trying to learn what to do on both lines. It's difficult to try and keep these little skimmers going. What is it, a skimmer? No, this is a little roach. Look, was he as big as that? Is it? So at the moment I'm thinking this line, I've caught 2 tiny little roach on that, I feel like. And that's on maggots. I do feel like putting a little bit more bait in there. I don't even want to think about that, Zolt. I think coaching the uncoachable here at the moment would be, I think my head would be coming off. As you can probably tell, I've just come short. I've had, this is my third fish. Again, not really, no stamp. Oh dear, that's a tiny fish. I've had a dumpy little roach, a little perch, but I just thought I'd try it just to see. Probably a bit early. Just feeding a few maggots. I went back on my original line that I actually started the match on, and there was literally little baby roach there. So I've just done the same as what I've done on my 11 o'clock line. So I've put like 70, 80 pinkies in, something like that, with a little bit of loose. But really I want to try and catch, you know, I want some, I've just, you know, you make your own luck at this game. It's going to be tough. Possibly down to my left in the shallow water, possibly they're catching bigger fish, I don't know. But I'm just trying to winkle out fish here and there, really. They're only small, but it's a numbers game at the moment, and then hopefully, possibly, you have a little run of better ones later on. It's only been fishing an hour and 45, no, a bit further longer than that. We've been fishing an hour and 45, so plenty of time to go yet. Very, very tricky fishing at the moment. Definitely I just need a few quality fish because I haven't had no quality really. But this float could go under, you know, could be a big skimmer, a big perch. There's a few fish there, that's the main thing. Wherever I put bait in, I've caught on every line. There's a little dumpy perch, oh no, little skimmer. That's the ones you want then, they're like 4 or 5 ounce fish. You can soon put a nice little, there's nothing, you know, certain, but today there's not going to be no big weights. Not in this section anyway. So that's just past my ground bait. Obviously going right to the end of the pole, flicking 4 or 5 maggots over the top now and again. You know, that's like 6 ounces in 2 chucks, so just flicking it out. Not tight, I'm letting it go down so the float catches up with the strung out shot. There you go. Oh, that was a perch, I think. Everything counts, everything counts. Definitely a little perch, that. I'm going really cagey at the moment with like what I'm chucking in there. No, there's a few fish there to be fair. Just going to chuck like 4 or 5 over the top. Different bottom there as well. When I plumbed up, it's just before the silt, I would say. Out on that long line, definitely silty. No bubbles coming up, admittedly. So if you remember, I put basically 2 pots of loose there, short of run fishing, so I can go on it. I think it just attracts a fish. Especially them little skimmers, they're an absolute pain. I've just come back from a 2-day silverfish thing, and little skimmers. absolute great fishing when you can catch them, but sometimes they're in your peg and you've got a job to catch them. You get tiny little indications in your float. I'm not really getting that today. I'm not getting lots of indications. Oh, look at that for a bite. Thing is, the next bite can be a pound skimmer, like I said. You just don't know. At the moment, I would say Grant's probably winning the section because he's had a 12-ounce perch. I've probably caught him up on numbers, but I've had no bonuses yet. You know, so I always say to people say to me, "Oh, I'm getting bitted out, Des, what do I do?" And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. If you can catch 16 of those little roach, that's a pound. And everybody else is stood there catching nothing. Sometimes you've got to think of your match like that. Well, we're halfway through, and it is proper tough, to be honest. I think Grant's probably winning this section. He's had a few better fish. I've basically had a few fish short. No quality whatsoever. Me long lines, I can get bites on them, but if I do get a bite at the moment, I lost one little skimmer probably about 10 minutes ago. But nothing's really sort of happening. It's proper tough. Even Adams, I just spoke to him on the opposite bank and he had a little run of fish, and then he said he can't get a bite, but he's just got a fish on now. I think these little, these odd little bonus fish are going to make a massive difference. I was thinking about chucking a Waggler out, and now the wind's got up. Hopefully it'll settle down in a minute, and I'll chuck the wag out, because I think at the moment it just doesn't seem to be any quality whatsoever here at the moment. Even when you're not getting bites, it's not as if you then sit there and wait and you get a better sized fish. I've sort of swung round to me right now, I put another line in. Like I said to you earlier, where when I started the match on that little soft sticky ball of groundbait with a few pinkies in it, that was my best line, so I put a line into my right. Even that's producing nothing, but if I do get a bite, it is a tiny. So at the moment it's tough, but we're still in the race. You know what I mean? Odd bonus fish here and there. I think the other end might fish better today because of the colour of the water, and it's shallower down there. It wouldn't surprise me if that's where all the bonus fish get caught, even though it's shallower. That sometimes happens when the water's dirty. The fish move into the shallower water. But at the moment, it's a tough day, as we all thought it would be. And just fishing for an odd better fish, really. But I can't catch one at the moment. Grant's just plodding along, really. Slightly better stamp fish. Keep them casters going out on that Waggler line. But yeah, I'll probably end up coming short again. I'll probably have a go on that Waggler line. I think I will have to bite the bullet and have a go on that wag, and just see if I can, see what happens first off. I'm the only one feeding it, I'm the only one fishing it, and you'd like to think there would be some fish there. It's not guaranteed, admittedly, but it could be exactly the same as what the pole. If there's not a lot of silverfish around here, but it's a tricky one. There's a little fish then. Probably a dear little roach, a little skimmer. That's back on me, sort of where I put that 250 mil of ground bait in. Just keep those lines ticking over. Just need a couple of decent skimmers really to get me back in the race. But at the moment, I don't know where I'm going to catch them from. You never know. That little bit of wind, it might, as long as that toe doesn't start going with the wind, it might just get a little bit better. You never know. Very, very tricky, oh, very tricky. But very, very close at the same time. As you can probably tell, I'm on the wag at the minute. Thought I'd just try it because the pole line is really, really tough at the moment. I've had a few bites on. I've had one little hybrid, probably like 3 ounces. But the wind's bloody got up now in typical. Yeah, it's still all right. But obviously I'm hoping for hopefully for some better quality fish. But I think the bites that I've missed have been little tinies. It looks quite nice though. Stuck out there, a yellow top float. Just thought I'd give it a go, just to see really. You never know, there might be some better sized skimmers there, especially loose feeding those casters. And like everything you do is like you've got to be patient, and you know there's no sort of casting out, getting a bite straight away or anything like that. It is being patient, and it just doesn't seem to be an amount of fish feeding. I think it's just the weather making it really, really awkward. I think peg 9. I keep looking around to peg 9, who's like to my right and back in a bay. I think he's catching some fish. It's going to be mega close. But at the moment, I'm behind. Definitely, there's a bite there, but I think it's them tiny little roach. But that 013 power line on there is absolutely beautiful to fish with. Sink's really nice as well. I think probably Grant's probably what I see of it at the moment. Grant's probably doing the best along here. What I can tell. Opposite me, they're catching very, very little. Really tough. But sitting out there, lovely that is. I've got three or four number 8s down. Just fishing like 3 inches over depth at the moment. Well, we've got about an hour to go, I think, and not a lot to report, to be honest. I'm really struggling to get a bite. I'll get every bite I get, really, is a tiny little fish. I've tried putting in really, really sloppy ground bait. I've literally mixed up slop. And I've had a couple of fish doing that, but I cannot get a run of fish. There's a little fish there, just little tiny fish. I cannot get any stamp fish at all. I just don't think there's any here, to be fair. I've been out on that Waggler. The wind's got up and messed it a bit. See, it wouldn't be bad if I could get one of them every chuck in. Grant's just been steady away, really. Odd little roach, odd little skimmer. In this section, I think Adam Palmer possibly on the end peg over there. I would have thought it'd be tight. I don't know about peg 9. Not really, can't see him, but opposite me, really, really hard. Yeah, it's a tough day. There's an odd fish coming out here there and odd little bits, but I really can't get anything decent. I can't even really get lots of bites off the roach or anything. I've tried my short line again, literally not a bite. I went back on a Waggler, never had a bite on that either. which is absolutely mad really, because I'm the only one who's doing it, and you'd think, like, you know, you possibly could get some bites out there, even if it's some like better sized roach or something, but just don't seem to be anything out there. Really, really difficult to know what to do really. I've potted a few maggots in at 11 metres. I plumbed up. It's virtually the same depth as my top 6 line, just to give it a go really. I've put no ground bait in there, just like 30 maggots, and I'll have a go on it in a bit. It's just something I wanted to try really, but at the moment it's yeah, with an hour to go, I'm nowhere, to be honest. Just sort of like hoping and praying that I'll get a couple of decent skimmers, but I can't really see where I'm going to catch them from, to be honest. And I'm too far behind now on little fish. That's the problem. It's like that. You go out and catch a little roach, and then you don't get a bite, and it's really hard to read, and you don't really know where to go to. You cannot get a run of fish. So it happens to the best of us, let me tell you. I cannot catch short now. And when I first went on that short line after like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I thought they'd be all right, but I've done nothing different. Flicked a few maggots there, and it's just gone completely. So that now, I just dropped in on that line, 1 bite straight away, and nothing. There's a bite. Oh, hello. That's not good news. That's definitely not a silverfish. Great big unit, that. I'll try and stop it going in Grant's peg. First one I've hooked though. Might have been fouled up actually. A little bit of action there, result. Not the sort of action I want, no. No, I'm just going to top up a little bit more positive. I've got nothing to lose really. I still don't think it's going to work, but we got 6-8 pound, Grant. Be close, I'll tell you what, you'll be close to winning it. You'll be close to winning the section. Yeah. I haven't had one, mate. I haven't had one. I just hooked a carp. Don't even look like a decent fish, to be honest. Well, we've got about 40 minutes to go, and yeah, things ain't got much, but I've just come short, and had a couple of little dumpy roach, but then they just disappear. I can't keep them coming. Grant's had a nice skimmer. I think I reckon Grant will be winning the section now. He's had a skimmer probably 1.5 pounds at least, I would say, and that's a massive bonus today on his short line. I just can't keep anything coming, so I put those maggots in it 11 metres, and I've just dropped on it, and I've had a roach about 1/2 ounce, I suppose, which come off. There you go. That's on that 11 metre line. A sensible size skimmer. That's what you want, some of those. And a bit bigger. No, really speaking, I felt like I should have had a maggot line. And at the start, I must admit, I felt like I should have had a maggot line at like 11 metres or 10 metres. But I don't know. I don't really know the venue as like a silverfish venue, like I don't come here anymore, but I just felt I needed somewhere like that with maybe no ground bait. And in hindsight, probably should have had that today, where I could have just pinged a few maggots over the top. That might just be a fluke, mine. I think my long lines have been probably a little bit too long, possibly, for what I've caught out there. I mean, literally, that hit the bottom then, straight under. And I've moved about enough, but the problem was my long lines has been really, really poor, really. Odd little skimmer, odd little roach, no bonus fish. I needed some of those fish mixed in, and then you're hoping to come short and maybe catch, snare a big perch or a couple of big skimmers. And at the moment, it just ain't happened for me. It's been a tough area anyway. And like this now, it's like you're sat there. And everywhere I go, I get like 2 or 3 bites and then nothing. And then you go somewhere else and you don't get a bite as well, so it's hard to like judge what to do. Just needed a couple of bonus skimmers and you're back in the race of this section. And unfortunately for me, it hasn't happened today. Well, not yet anyway. I've got 40 minutes to go, but I just feel inside that I'm not going to hook one. Little tiny fish. Wherever you go, you get a bite. But a lot of it is the wrong size fish. It's just these little tiny roach. But I've had, considering the conditions we've had, you can get a bite. You get a bite virtually every cast, really, or an indication. A lot of them are tiny fish, admittedly, but it could have been quite easily gone under 3 or 4 times today with a pound and a half skimmer. And you can obviously win the set. I think they've caught more fish to the left down in the shallow water today. I heard someone say that someone had 14 pounds, but whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But we'll just keep going and I'll report back just before the end, and hopefully I'll have 6 great big skimmers in my net. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, I've just come short, and that 11 metre line, I caught some dumpy little roach. I've just hooked a decent perch on my top kitten 3. Not a big one, but a lot bigger than what I've been catching. And I think probably that's where I've gone wrong today. Not knowing it, and I think I should have had a maggot line. It's all well and good in it, hindsight. I think I should have had a maggot line at like 11 metres. And maybe even brought this line back to a top kitten 2. There actually seems to be more roach, obviously closer in, than there is out there. And there's definitely a lack of, I think there's been a real lack of quality fish in this. Well, for me anyway. I mean, I think Grant's had a good skimmer, a big perch. And then he's like gone between like 10 metres and the top kitten 2 for roach. where I haven't I've fished a top kitten 3. There has been a few fish on that line, to be honest, but not, obviously no stamp really, apart from that perch. But, you know, it's been bites. It's just been a bit unfortunate that I've not caught any quality fish. If I could have just winkled out a few good skimmers, I think you'd have been there or thereabouts, but that ain't happened today. I've not even hooked a big skimmer, so, and that's what you needed today. You just needed a couple of big skimmers just to put, you know, just to boost your weight up. I think at the moment in this section, I think Grant's probably winning the section, I would say. He's had a decent perch, he's had a decent skimmer, and he's caught quite well. He's caught roach quite well. Mostly short, and his medium line. They just won't settle, they won't come to, like, it feels like you don't even want to chuck any maggots in half the time. It's just what you want to be feeding the line when you're not actually fishing it. It's definitely been a hard one, but you know, that's what we do in the winter. Obviously everywhere's fishing like funny at the moment, and there's another bit of bite there. They're the ones you don't want really, even though it's bites. It'd been nice though. I'd like to come back again and give it another go, because I think I've learned quite a bit today. I'm just going to go out on my 11-metre line again. And little 4B12 F maggots have been absolutely superb. Even in that side wind, they sat really, really well. It just feels like that's going to go under with a 2-pound skimmer come flying out of the water. But up to now it hasn't. Yeah, little tiny fish. That's what you don't want, is them. It'll take a bit, there's 10 minutes to go, so I think it's game over for the section or framing, without a doubt. I think all the frame weights will probably come from down the other end of the lake, I would have thought. But I've had loads of bites today. Just small fish. I just wish I probably could go back in time, and this line, if I'd have set this line up earlier, is every time I come off of it, put like 50, 60 maggots in. I'm not 100% sure whether it would have worked or not, but I think you could have like gone in there, maybe caught some nice little dumpy roach, possibly, you know, kept the weight going in. But them bonus fish are going to be massive today. Without those bonus fish, you're going to be nowhere. Adam stopped catching as well. Adam on 58. Oh, he was doing really well earlier. And the last hour, I would say, he's caught very little. So it just shows you it's been a tricky, tricky day. Nothing on that line. Just I'll come back on my short line again. It's amazing that you can be like 3 or 4 meters away, and there's more fish on the inside. I think with that colour of water, I probably made a mistake. In hindsight, probably made a mistake by fishing. Should have come back a little bit and fished in slightly shallower water, possibly. These are the ones you want. These little dumpy roach like that. I mean, they're all right then. I've just not caught enough of them. I probably fished in the wrong place, I think. I think if I'd have had like a line, another joint off for that. Bit gutted really, because I just felt like I could have, you know, I deserve a couple of decent skimmers. So, well, there you go. Just looks somewhat decent. Not sure if it's foul hooked or not, though. Another skimmer short, that is. Needed that. He's actually hooked in the gill cover, that one. And that's what I mean. So you could just get a little run of those at the end. It's too late now. I've literally got 2 minutes to go. So that short line, that's my top kit in 3. So that, just feeding a few maggots over that ground bit that I fed earlier. And that's the sort of best line, really. Being patient. I just wish I had that 11.5 metre line from the start. Obviously I was relying on my long lines to get going. I thought that was going to be good out there, catching little skimmers. I mean, look at that, look, it's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad. And you make your own luck, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do any good, but it just shows you for the camera, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's mad. Too late, mate. Hey? Yeah. Oh no, it's 3:30, isn't it? It's 3:30. It's 3:30 we finish. So, I know, I was like, hello. I was thinking, that's that idiot. Jesus, I forgot about that, Zolt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've done a right mess of that, haven't we, Zolt? I thought it was 3 o'clock finish. Zolt told me it was 3 o'clock finish. Right. That's actually put me back in the hunt in a way. And people say to me, you know, how come you've caught short? And I'm like, you make your own luck. And even Zolt said to me, what would you do, Des, if you're getting bitted out like that? Would you feed a load more bait? And I'm like, not on a day like today. It's just too risky. So I'm just holding that. Unfortunately, the wind, the tow is just trying to creep with the wind. It's not going the opposite way. I think if that tow was backing up, obviously it'd be a lot better fishing, I think. It's definitely hard for the filming. It's been a hard day, as in trying to talk to you about, you know, it's just one of them occasions when fishing is tough. You don't, you know, obviously I don't come here, so I didn't quite know what to expect, but that's, you know, that's what we do these films for. Grant's just caught nice and steady. So quite a few decent little roach and little perch. Well, after that bit of a mess up, thinking we were finishing at 3 and we're not, we're fishing into 3:30. Another little catch up. I've had another perch, probably about 5 ounces, a few more roach, but not any more skimmers. I've had just had a little hand size one. Grant's had another decent skimmer short. He's fishing shorter than me, which I think has probably been the right thing to do today. But just a bit unlucky that I've just not had a few more bonus fish, because that's all it's going to be today. I think Grant will probably win this section, I would say. Adam's slowed right down. I think peg 9 round to our left, round to our right, slowed right down. And all I'm doing is going from like a top kit in 3, coming back a bit. They just won't settle. I've gone back out, before I spoke to you, I'd gone back out to 11 metres, dropped in, caught like 2 or 3 little dumpy roach, and then it just goes dead again. Very hard. I think like to be honest, I think if I'd have fished, see, they're back there again now. I think if I'd have fished a top kit in 2, and then like 10 metres, I think that'd have been the best way today. I think there's more roach to be caught in shorter. But when I plumbed up, it seemed so nice there. You know, little roach are back again now, little tinies. I've got about 2 minutes to go. It's absolutely bitterly cold again now. That wind's freezing cold. In hindsight, I think I messed up a bit fishing long. Fished too long. And I should have probably, in hindsight, once I knew that was gone out there, I should have been concentrating on this short line for the roach. Obviously looking to get an odd bonus fish. But like I said, it is just, you are literally, if I kept plodding with these, like Grant has, short, and then, you know, your next bite can be a pound skimmer, you're in with a shout. But I've not had that. I've sort of lost me way really, out long. It's not happened. You can see that I've got quite a lot of pole behind me, so I'm going from that. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I go get a bite there, and then I go right out to top kit in 3 and get some bites. I can't seem to get a bite. You know, you've got to keep moving. Fish on. Well, I've had a bite, and it's a great big unit. That's a perch. £4. Well, a nice bite right at the death, but it's the wrong species. You never know, though. It might be a £4 perch. What's the biggest perch in here, Grant? What's the biggest perch in here? Oh, this could be it then. Not likely. Probably an F1, I would say. Definitely not a perch. If that's a perch, it'd be a world record. But anyway, eh? That, well, I wish it was though. Could do with it. That's how far I'm behind, I think. But it's been a good day. You know, it's been a tough one to call. Like I said, going back to what I said just before the end, I think if I could come back and start the match again, them long lines have been all right at the start, catching those little hand-sized skimmers. I don't think there was many quality fish here at all. And then concentrated really on 2 short lines. A little bit shorter than what I fished. Oh, look at that. Nice big Moorlands Farm F1, that. Might be a stocky carp, actually. But there you go. I think Grant's probably won this section. If his fish started all the way down, he might even have framed in the match. He's fished a nice tidy match. Obviously living on site gives him a little bit of leeway of what's going on here, where I've sort of probably fished out a bit too far, thinking like obviously catching skimmers and stuff. Oh, look at that. Lovely little carp, that. Ghosty. Oh, yes, salt. Nice perch, that, Grant. Oh, I wish. Oh, absolutely freezing. Look at him. I'd like to weigh him in, to be honest. Not allowed. So anyway, let's get him back and we'll wait for the scales and see what damage I've done. No damage at all today, by the way. But I'm absolutely freezing, so let's pack away. That carp I've put in the net, he's all right.
He's all right, mate. Put a rope coat on him, he'll be all right.
Tried to fish like the last 2 days, 14.5 metres.
There it is.
Go on then, Grant.
This. Look at that.
Not enough. £8 at that.
Double figures there.
Bloody hell,
Nearly.
that's more than what I thought I had.
£9.30.
Don't come here, do I? That's the trouble.
No, that's the best. You could come a bit more.
I know.
I don't think I've got that.
Don't be stupid.
Serious?
That's a bit more than what I thought I had, to be fair. Surprising, isn't it? Them little skimmers and stuff.
Bringing it down with it.
Yep. Oh, right, let's go and weigh Granted. Well, do you have 13? Got a lot of room as well, haven't you, there? This makes a big difference, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't think Grant would be cut. I reckon Grant would have 12, I reckon. I don't know, you might do you. Be
I
close.
think so.
I reckon you will have. I reckon if I've had 9.13, you'll have 13, 14 pound, I
I
reckon.
hope so, but I don't think so.
I reckon you have. Scales are on £4 already, so you've got to win it.
I'm all the scarcity.
Yeah. What have you caught? A load of roach and that?
Roach and mares. More skimmers.
Yeah. Beat there. Oh, there's one out in there.
That's more than
Look at that. Oh yeah. That's just done it, I reckon, Grant.
Okay.
14, 12 to 13.
Oh, that's close.
£10, 12. Bloody hell, I thought you had more than that. You've had some quality fish in there, haven't you? Some big roach in that.
Yeah. Caught cast at the end, mate, yeah.
There's this
Yeah.
not your catch shot, mate.
Zol, do you want to go for a swim? Well, that's the end. I've had £9.12, as you've probably seen from the scales. Grant's had £10.12, I think.
£10.14.
10.14, and then the guy on the end, peg 9, has had £13, and I think he'll win this section. Adam on the end over that side, opposite peg 9, I don't think he's probably got that, I'm not sure, unless he's caught some better stamp fish. But it's been a tough one. It's been tough but fair, and I've just been caught out a little bit on distance. I think I should have fished, I shouldn't have fished 14.5, I think that was a mistake, not knowing the venue. You know, different venues, obviously, we all go all over the place, and I think fishing long and looking at the cut of the water, I made a mistake. I should have fished like 13 maximum. And then that, I just felt this morning, I've messed up. I felt this morning, I thought, just have a line in the middle where you can put some maggots in, loose feed as well as potting. And if it's a roachy day, you know, when it's hard, that can be really good. I made a mistake not doing that, even though I have done it with an hour and a half to go, and I have caught a few fish on it, to be fair. But there's no doubt about it. Grant has caught 80% of his fish shorter than what I've caught. He's fished on a top kit in, I think a top kit in 1 and a bit. So he's fished like real, like, you know, on the bottom of the shelf. And I fished a little bit further out, but there's been nothing in it really. You know, he's had a big roach. He's had a few better fish than me. And yeah, you know, but like I said during the film, it was getting a couple of bonus fish, 2 or 3 more of those skimmers, and you've won the section. You know, I think that end of the lake, by the sounds of it, is fished better, but you never know. I think it's fished really tough all the way around, but fair. So there you go. That's the, you know, the ground bait today. Yeah, I've caught some skimmers over it, little skimmers, but they just went like really fun. I just don't think there was many here, to be honest. The Waggler was an absolute waste of time, probably because the fish have been in closer. Another venue, you know, you go to a different venue, loose feeding those casters out there all on your own, no one else doing it. You could have gone out there and had it away, and it ain't, and the wind's messed it up really. So there you go, lessons learned today. You know, tough silverfish fishing in the winter, and it has been this winter wherever I've been. But I've messed up a little bit, even though I don't come here. I felt like I've done all right from where I've been. you know, I've definitely messed up a little bit. There you go, that's winter fishing. I got the van started up because the wind has got so cold the last hour and a half. It's been an uncomfortable result in me fishing in it. So there you go, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've had a few tips, even though I know it's been a tough day. But if you go out in the winter on these sort of matches, you know, you can expect this sometimes. And anyway, thanks to Grant for letting us fish and obviously fish the match today. We'll find out what the results are. I think 12-13 pound was a really good way to do it. I was just a little bit off today with getting it right on the day. But there you go. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the Preston YouTube channel. And thanks for watching, and see you on the bank next time.